Welcome to The Explainer. So, have you ever really stopped to think about what makes an idea unforgettable? Why some messages just stick with you for years, while others, they're gone the second you hear them.
I bet you've heard some version of the kidney heist urban legend. It's been floating around for decades. And look, even though it's totally false, it's incredibly memorable, right? It's got this chilling, vivid quality that just gets stuck in your head.
Okay, now try to hold that thought and compare it to this sentence from a real nonprofit paper. Comprehensive community building naturally lends itself. Yeah, I'll just stop there. Seriously, could you tell a friend what that means in an hour? I couldn't. You've probably already forgotten it. One idea is like a magnet. The other is it's like Teflon for your brain.
And that gets us to the core mystery we're tackling today. It turns out an idea's stickiness isn't just random chance. There's actually a science to it. A pattern that explains why some ideas, whether they're true or false, just capture our imagination and refuse to let go.
But before we get to the solution, to the secrets of making our own ideas stick, we first have to meet the villain of this story. This is the big obstacle, the thing that makes our own great ideas totally fail to connect with other people.
And that villain is something called the curse of knowledge. It's this weird quirk of our brains where once we know something, it becomes almost impossible to remember what it was like not to know it. Whether it's the punchline to a joke, the melody of a song, or the details of our job, our knowledge completely changes our perspective.
There's this brilliant experiment from Stanford that shows this perfectly. It's called tappers and listeners. So picture this. You're a tapper. Your job is to tap out the rhythm of a super well-known song, something like Happy Birthday, on a table. The listener just has to guess the song from your taps. Sounds easy enough, right?
Well, here's where it gets crazy. The tappers, who are hearing the full song play in their heads, predicted the listeners would guess it right about 50% of the time. The actual result? A jaw-dropping 2.5%. That means only one person got it right out of 40 tries. For the tapper, the tune is obvious. For the listener, it's just a bunch of random tapping. That huge gap, that is the curse of knowledge in action.
So how in the world do we beat this curse? Well, the authors of the book Made to Stick, Chip and Dan Heath, found that sticky ideas aren't just born from some stroke of creative genius or plain dumb luck. No, they actually follow a predictable pattern. There's a roadmap you can use to make messages unforgettable.
They looked at hundreds of sticky ideas, everything from urban legends and ad campaigns to proverbs that have lasted for centuries. And they found that pretty much all of them shared a common set of traits. They basically cracked the code and boiled it down into a simple, powerful acronym.
And here it is, the framework they call success. For an idea to really stick, it needs to be simple, unexpected, concrete, credible, emotional, and told through stories. This is our toolkit for breaking the curse of knowledge. Now, this framework is way more than just a simple checklist. The real magic happens when you see how these principles actually work together out in the real world. They're like the building blocks for creating communication that actually lands and stays with people.
All right, take Southwest Airlines. Their mission is almost brutally simple and incredibly concrete. We are the low-fare airline. And that one core idea, which is perfectly captured in this fantastic quote from their former CEO, becomes this crystal-clear guide for thousands of employees. It answers a million questions before they even have to be asked. There's no gray area, no confusion.
Okay, how about this challenge? How do you get teenagers to stop smoking? We all know that just lecturing them about health risks down the road doesn't really work. So the Truth Campaign did something totally unexpected. They took a statistic and they made it impossible to look away from.
This wasn't really about health at all. It was about rebellion. This shocking visual demonstration tapped right into that teenage resentment of authority, of being lied to by big tobacco. It created this powerful, emotional gut punch. They turned an abstract number into a visceral, unforgettable image that screamed protest.
It's the same idea behind the Don't Mess with Texas campaign. They could have gone with a generic, preachy message. Instead, they tapped into emotion and identity. They told a new story about what it means to be a tough, proud Texan, and that made the message deeply personal and powerful in a way that give a hoot, don't pollute just couldn't be for that specific audience.
So here's the most important takeaway from all this. Making ideas stick. It's not a gift.
It's not about being a creative genius or a naturally charismatic speaker. It's a skill. It's something you can learn. It's about spotting good ideas and then knowing how to shape them using these principles.
And this isn't some secret tool set just for CEOs or fancy advertisers. It's for absolutely everyone. Teachers, managers, parents, you name it. It's for anyone who has an important message they need to get across. A message that they need to actually make a difference.
We see this framework pop up in these huge, world-changing ideas, like JFK's moonshot. I mean, that was simple, unexpected, and unbelievably concrete. But we also see it working on a much more personal, immediate scale.
Take Floyd Lee, an Army mess hall cook in Iraq. He had the exact same food, the same ingredients as every other cook. But he reframed his entire job with a sticky mission. As he saw it, he wasn't just in charge of food service, he was in charge of morale. That simple emotional idea completely transformed his work. It inspired his whole team, and it literally created an oasis for soldiers in a war zone.
So who gets to make an idea stick? A president addressing a nation? Or a cook feeding an army? As we've seen, the answer is anyone. It's not about the power you hold. It's about the power of the idea you shape. You have the tools now. The only question left is, what idea are you going to make stick?